Another bright and sunny morning. Working out here on the foundation for the house. This is going to be the start of the third day for working on the foundation, digging the footings, getting the plumbing excavated out where it's going to go. That gray pipe right behind me, that's where the electrical is coming in. I had to excavate that out. I think 2 feet deep is what I went, a little bit more maybe, 28 inches. Put that in. Took pictures of it, put some gravel down, some of that pea gravel I have up there. Put some of that down over top of it, and then put some dirt going in over it after that. I've got a bit more work to do with this foundation. Got as much done as I could with my backhoe, and then I blew the main hose to the hoe itself. So that's out of commission. All the rest of this digging I'm going to do by hand, because I don't know if I can get that hose fixed. I'm gonna head into town at some point today. I'm gonna take the hose with me. There's a little ag shop in town. I'm hoping they can fix that for me. But it's not a whole lot of shovel work. I've got some stakes put back down in the ditch. There's a stake right there, kind of where my shadow is. And that's 6 inches wider and longer than the forms need to be. Now I have to have them bigger and longer because I've got to put a drain pipe in behind the forms on the outside of the forms, on the outside of the house. A drain pipe, so when water comes and hits the foundation and goes down, it goes into that pipe and goes out toward that low area out there. The only other time I've formed up my own slab, monolithic pour slab on grade, was the garage I built back in California, and that didn't have any plumbing in it. The wiring came right up the outside wall, so that was easy to plumb. I just put a piece of pipe in the footing. That was simple, easy peasy thing. It didn't require having drains around the outside because it was on flat ground out where we lived. It was completely flat. There was no runoff from a hill. And I don't know if it's a new thing they've come out with in the past 10 years or if it's a area thing where just this area needs it done. But I've got to over excavate the footings. I was going to use 2x8 just on the top on grade, level those and pour up to those 2x8s and let the concrete fill right up the sides of the dirt on both sides. But since I need that drainage tube down there, I went out and got plywood, sheets of plywood, and I ripped them in half long ways so they're 2 foot tall, which is minimum what my foundation needs. They want to see 8 inches above grade and 16 inches below grade. Since I'm on a slight bit of a slope here, it is, I think, 2 inches lower at that end. I'm going to have, 9 or 10 inches above down there and still 16 inches below. Up here I'll have 8 inches above and 16 inches below. But we're getting there little by little. I'm trying to get this thing kind of going. Got a little discouraged yesterday when the hose blew. Got a big spot in the ground over here. I was working on all this heavy rock. There's some big rocks in there. Big rocks piled up over there. This is solid rock right here, which is kind of what I was looking for somewhere on my property, was a rock pit. Looks like one of the rock pits on my property, hopefully there's more than one, but this one's going to be underneath my house, so it's not going to be usable for digging rock out of to make paths and finishing up the driveway. But we'll find another rock pit sooner or later. I got to clean up my oil slick or my hydraulic fluid. That's the mess it made when it blew. I was sitting over here working on that ditch when the hose blew and just didn't hit my boot, but it covered the inside of the backhoe and just started spraying. That hose right there, the quick connect, that's the main supply hose for pressure that comes out and goes down to all those hoses that are now covered in fresh hydraulic fluid. So we'll get that taken care of, hopefully. Not that I don't think I'll need it for the foundation anymore, but I could use the backhoe to go grab gravel and bring it down, so when we put the plumbing in, we can bed it in some nice gravel instead of just bedding it in dirt and trying to pack it down. On a side note, I did put up 2 game cams so that I can do the same kind of time-lapse thing for my house that I did with my greenhouse. Got one game cam right over there on that tree that is now being blocked by the backhoe, and another game cam is up there straight ahead toward the trailer. I don't know if you can see it or not, but it's right up there on that tree. 2 different angles for the house build. Hopefully we get some good pictures, but I'm sure it'll give a good time lapse if nothing else. So we've got a little bit of shovel work to do. I've got to cut this back a little bit more. I can cut most of this back with a pry bar, just kind of knocking the dirt back. I want to go another maybe 6 inches back to give myself plenty of room. You get up in this area up here where there's a whole bunch of rock, and it might prove to be a little time consuming. But if I can stick to working this side and that end to make my forms as wide as I need them to be able to accommodate that drain hose, I think we'll be all right. And my plumber was supposed to come out today. I thought I'd have all this excavated and the forms up over the weekend, but it proved to be a little bit longer process than I thought. So I called him back yesterday, told him, I said, I'm not ready. My backhoe blew a hose. I spent half a day on the backhoe yesterday, and the other half the day was digging it out by hand and setting stakes and doing some measurements. Also trying to figure out what I'm gonna do for forming this area with all this rock. This is some pretty big rock in there. It's really hard to drive a stake. I've got metal stakes I can put in. I've got T-posts I can put in. I don't know if I'll be able to get them back out once I get them in. That T-post over there, it's got a metal stake next to it. That's a 2 foot, I think it's a 2 foot metal stake right there. And I was swinging a 5-pound sledge on that thing, I don't know, for a few minutes, 5 minutes, trying to pound it in there. Kept hitting big rocks, and then you can tell when it breaks because it'll drive down another inch or so, and then it'll break the rock a little more. So I don't know if I'll get the stakes out of the ground for this form up here, but we'll figure something out. We've got to get the forms in and up and secure so that they don't blow out when you pour concrete. That's the one thing I'm worried about. That's the only, I don't care if I don't get the stakes back. I'll cut them off if I have to, as long as my forms stay solid and true. Get my forms up. Hopefully by the end of today, I've got at least 2 or 3 forms up, and I can figure out where grade is. And maybe in 2 days, I'll call my plumber back out or have him scheduled to come out in a couple days. Him and his brother just started up a business. They're working with me. They did the layout, and they told me to just dig it, do as much work as you can, call us out. We'll glue it together for you and put it in place and bed it, bring some gravel down, we'll bed it in the gravel. We're looking to make a good name for ourselves, and we just started this business this year. So they're really gung-ho to start this business. I know one brother is a master plumber. I don't know if the other one's a master plumber or just a plumber, and I don't know what the difference is, but he did tell me he's a master plumber. He came from Colorado and moved up here. Dang bugs. Came from Colorado and moved up here, and they've started this business. And super great guys so far. Even with me calling them last night and saying, dude, you can't come out tomorrow, it's not gonna be ready. No big deal, call us when you're ready. We'll come out and hook you up. So we're getting going little by little. It's a little update. I don't know if you want to see me shoveling a bunch of dirt, but get toward all this rock and I might not be in the best of moods. So we'll get this going though. Hang out, guys.